who do you think is won if you look at the triangle between the U.S., China, and North-South Korea? Who's come out the better in your view? By the way, let me just say that Jung Pak is at the Brookings Institution. She's a senior fellow, chairs the Korea program there. My apologies.
Thanks, Orville. And thank you for joining us today. I've been here for the past 3 days, and I've been amazed by your passion and your enthusiasm for all things that have been, all the great panels here. So I wanted to talk about, I think everybody won with the whole spring of symmetry, but I think the biggest loser was the North Korean people. But I want to talk about in terms of there's a debate in the China and the Northeast Asia circles about, is China an enemy, or is China a country to be embraced and lifted up into this into our way of thinking about things? And I want to look at the North Korea example as to show the fragility of both of those ways of looking at China. When China was on board with us, with the US and everybody else on sanctions against North Korea since last year, that was great. North Korea, of course, played a really big role because they were so nasty last year, right? They tested 2 intercontinental ballistic missiles. They had a massive nuclear test. They called the US president nasty words, and there was just a lot of fear. And that also helped with the fact that China and others signed on to UN and US sanctions. So that was great. I thought that was the height of US-China cooperation on North Korea. But it also shows you how much work that is. Because since Kim Jong-un decided to throw a wrench into the whole thing of his own maximum pressure campaign by saying that he wants to go to the Olympics, he wants to make nice with the US president, he wants to go to South Korea, he wants to make nice with China, that totally threw everything in a way that everything in Northeast Asia seems pretty plastic right now, in that we have a North Korea that has been embraced by China, embraced by South Korea. Abe is trying to get in on the action. But I think, and this goes into the idea of competition. This was an opportunity for China to use the North Korean outreach to try to undercut and undermine US credibility in the region. I have to say, though, that the Trump administration has done a great job of helping China to undermine our own credibility and standing in the region. So I would say that as Kim has changed the dynamics of the peninsula, China has taken advantage of that and to try to steer the region toward a process for North Korea denuclearization that might be at odds with the the Trump administration's ideas. I also think that there are consequences for our allies in the region. I think we would only have to look at how China has handled South Korea. South Korea had agreed to a missile defense system. China responded by saying, and by invoking and continuing an unofficial economic sanctions against South Korea, in which the South Korean companies lost billions of dollars. All because the South Koreans said, yes, we're going to accept this US missile defense system. So I think that goes to show you how China can throw its weight around with our allies if they don't have our firm support, and how something something like Kim Jong-un saying, I want to talk and go to the Olympics, can throw all of this and upturn the tables.